post the interview with Diana, I think your guess is as good as mine. My DMs are actually flooded, and I feel like I need to say I am scared that most of y'all might be in relationships with DL men. Anyway, that's not my cross to carry. There's a particular group of people that are very cringe, very nasty, very disgusting. Because tell me why I got a DM on TikTok and after a text, ikakosa could respond. My business number is usually on my bio. And this person says, I have not stopped coming since I watched your videos. And honestly, my first reaction was, what makes you think this is a nice thing to say? What makes you think this is a compliment? And then I realized, I feel like most cis males actually move around the world like that, because it's not once I have had a man make a comment towards a woman and you're just like, wow, that's disgusting. But in their head, the expectation is they are supposed to be appreciated. They have said such a nice thing, da 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 da. And I just wanted to say that I feel like most people actually did not watch the YouTube interview, and this is because maybe people are busy or you're just lazy or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's very annoying for you to actually make conclusions out of a clip, a snippet of the interview that was posted on Instagram. Excuse. And you draw your own assumptions, and the assumptions I want to come to an end is that I am looking for anyone or that I am single, because like most of you might know, I am happily partnered and I'm very busy raising a 6-month-old baby. And yeah, I feel like I have a lot more to do than just to sit and engage people that are actually sexualizing, objectifying me. And also, it's worth noting that none of y'all has balls big enough to actually claim me loudly. Yeah? Because you all see trans women like little dirty secrets that you can treat however you want in the DMs, that you can say whatever you want in the DMs, and then be the same people that actually create pseudo accounts to come and insult us. I don't want none of that. And that's how Patsy sees it. I always say I was bullied in high school. I feel like I had a fair bunch of people that treated me horribly, but that can't be compared to the experience I went through in college. And from some of the comments you will see either on my page or Diana's page after the interview, most of it is, you know, men laughing in a way that it's not that whatever the situation is hilarious. It's because they are condescending and they are looking down upon the person in the video and whatever. And of course, now we had those that had mean things to say. And every time I get this reaction, because it's not the first time. I remember there was a time in 2023 when apparently one of my course mates went around telling people that so the context is, this was immediately after I did my birthday photo shoot, which was the very first time ever I like showed up in my trans persona and in makeup at that. And apparently now in that particular group, of course we have like the course groups, the WhatsApp groups, so they were talking about me. I don't know what the context was. And so this particular man or this boy, whatever, tells everyone about how I had reached out to him na karibu aingia box juu nilikuwa namkatia before he realized that it was actually Patsy. Mind you, this person like was one of the people that I think about every time I think about mouth odors. This man alikuwa ananuka mudomo. And the very first time I heard this, I remember my immediate reaction was anger. I was so angry. I was so angry. And so, because I was sent screenshots, and I'm going to be very honest, I am not even mad at the person who sent me the screenshots. I feel like I needed to know that because Kitambo, I used to trust people very, very well. I used to trust anyone who was smiling at me. Maybe because I was in my people-pleasing stage, and maybe because I felt like I was a lesser being just because of who I am. But then I remember just seeing the amount of people that were engaging him and everything. One of them was my friend then, and I reached out to her and I asked her, why would you actually sit down when this person is saying such things about me? And she tells me, si unajua huyo anakuanga comedian. And I'm just like, do you actually realize that this man is insinuating that nilikuwa namkatia? Yeah? And then that passed. Later on, I hear that there was another lady who was in the TV production department and with a failed music career, by the way. And apparently, she also had sentiments around, oh, you know, the Bible is against that. The Bible says, first things first, there is no single place in the Bible where they directly point out at transgenders. And if there is any, please come and challenge me. But then away from that. And now back to the point where I'm saying college cannot be compared to the experience I had in high school. It is because I was literally in this institution for less than 9 months, not including the holidays. I was in this school for not more than 9 months. And apparently we have this big bunch of madmen and women that feel like they can have an opinion about me, that they feel like they know me so well. When in real sense, I remember I didn't actually have a roommate. That is the next thing. And the next thing is I used to keep to myself more often than not. And the third thing, I had people literally like, we usually have this like, kunongonezana every time like they see me seated on my own. But at the end of the day, it is because of the passive aggression I was getting from the biggest part of the population. And this is not something I had in my mind. I remember the very first time, because I was also admitted a few weeks after everyone else had joined the institution. And I remember the very first lecture I attended was a PR lecture. And then I was told to introduce myself. Do you want to know the very first question I was asked by one of the students? Are you gay? And I was just like, every time I see people, my first point of curiosity is not who you are having sex with. That would make me a mentally unstable person. And to think that this is how many years, this is 8 years later. I was in Kenya Mass in 2019. And somehow I am still living rent-free in people's heads. And this is why you find a reason to make a comment. I doubt it if I can remember most of the people from that institution. Not because I hated them. It is just because their lives was none of my business. I didn't go there to major in Kangeve. I didn't go there to major in Chantal. I went there to literally pursue whatever it is I went to pursue. And at the end of the day, the decision became a little bit too difficult for me to be in. And that is why I had to quit. I chose my peace of mind. I left the school to you guys. But for whatever reason, y'all cannot find a reason to keep your mouth shut, and you will always be all over the space trying to, you know, claim some association to me. You will not see me in interviews mentioning about what college I went to, and that is for a reason. Yes. It was a space that damaged me. It was a space that almost made me doubt my self-worth. It is one of the spaces where I was very cognizant of who I was, but at the end of the day, I kept on being gaslit that I was the mad person. I was the person that really loved attention. I talked about it's not even worth it talking about, but at the end of the day, I hate the day I stepped foot in that particular space. I thought it was the space for me, and I used to love it before I joined, but I don't know what good came out of it. I don't know what good came out of it. And I'm going to be very honest, I thought people in media are the most open-minded, yet they are the most judgmental. That's how Patty sees it. When you come to any of my socials, it is very hard. It is very, very hard to get anyone that bullies me. And this was not always the case. In fact, sometime last year, in the beginning of last year, this was not the case. I am a narrative change communicator, and the first thing that I did on my socials after my narrative change sort of training in 2024, the first thing I did was sort of rebranding my page and rebranding the way I moved around my page. And this is what I usually say. It is not everyone in my space that actually agrees with me. But if you are to agree or disagree, you have to move around the world in a very respectful manner. First things first is we look beyond identity. And this is why when I am, for example, doing my radical resting space SRH Bank mobilization, I will not mobilize for the trans community alone. And that is why we have helped mothers. That is why we have helped girls get sanitary pads. That is because that is the reason why I talk to cis heterosexual women when they are at their last point and they feel disillusioned and miserable. This is the reason why I have not restricted my page to queerness. We have broad conversation. We talk about all issues humanity. And that is exactly what made us arrive at this particular point when I can literally post across all my socials. And I will not be worried that there is any negative comment thrown at me or any person that is being mean to the other on the comment section. That is the next thing I do. I don't harbor bullies. I don't protect them. I don't enable them. A negative comment, I'm going to block you and delete the comment. So I'm not saying that is how every creator should move around the world, but I'm just like, it is so surprising that this is not how every other human being relates to the world. And this is why I also mentioned I can't hold Diana as a host responsible for how her audience reacts to seeing me. But at the end of the day, I am very confident that if I introduce a disabled person to my platform, if I introduce a cis heterosexual man, a cis heterosexual woman, if I introduce anyone to my platform, I have actually taken the time to sensitize people about why it is very important for us to change our mindset and to look beyond identity, because that is what is actually holding us back. You are unable to experience the good that may come out of a gay man, a lesbian woman, a transgender man, an intersex person, because you have been conditioned to not be able to reason beyond identity. Immediately you see your friend, the first thing you see is, this is a drunkard, they have nothing to offer me. This is a single mother, they don't have anything to offer me. And I feel like we need to be very intentional about thinking beyond identity. Look at humanity. That is what unites us. Is that not so? And that's how Patsy sees it. As a feminist, one thing I will be very loud about is I am very, very individualistic. When I speak about equity, I will speak for queerness and I will also speak for womanhood. Everyone else can carry their own cross. And this is the reason why, for example, we had the commemoration of the fallen soldiers on 25th. And I saw how everyone was angry at politicians. I saw how angry people were at, everyone else, at Caswell, at everyone. And I'm just like, how come this is not the type of anger we have when talking about how underwhelming anti-femicide marches sometimes can be? How come the anger we have towards queer people is not the kind of anger we have towards pedophile, rapists, murderers, all these people? Very recently, there was a woman that was killed in my hometown in Kirinyaga. And I remember seeing a video, a social media clip, and I was asking one of the ladies I talked to, why are you guys still engaging this murderer? Mbona hakupewa salamu moja mbili tatu? Because at the end of the day, this is what we are going to resort to. And by the way, this is actually the solution I think should be there when it comes to rapists, when it comes to perpetrators, when it comes to femicide. I actually do believe there is a point where it gets and people's organs need to be mutilated, and sometimes watu wanahitaji kuuliwa. Because at the end of the day, I don't see how you have killed a woman. I don't see how you have defiled a child, and all people around this person have to do is getting angry at him verbally and saying, oh my God, we are so angry. Are you really angry? But at the end of the day, when a trans woman is spotted anywhere, at the end of the day, when gay couple is caught in the action, whatever that looks like, they are stoned to death. And this is why even in the families, queerness is a taboo, and some parents will literally disown their children. When it comes to rape and matters pedophilia, then it's a little family secret. We need to think about that as a society. We need to think if we are actually rape sympathizers, if we are pedophilia sympathizers, if we are murder sympathizers, and then act like we are the people that are very holy and mad at queerness. It's literally so crazy. And that's how Patsy sees it. This is a question I get all the time. It is a condescending question, of course. And this is a question that came up after my interview on Saturday. Hey, this interview has done a lot. So the main question was, Can she carry a child? Can she get periods? And my answer to you is I am not that kind of a woman. Yes. And these questions, interestingly enough, were coming from women. And last year, I will never forget this Yekoyo creator. Her name is, I forgot what her name is, but she's bald. And I remember her coming at me and telling me that trans women mock womanhood and that we can't be women because we are not able to carry children. First things first, in Nangami's words, I don't take advice from people I don't look up to. The next thing is, you don't even have a child. So what rights do you actually have to speak about motherhood? And because at that point we were actually expecting the urge to actually clap back and literally just use this information, I actually sort of held back. But one thing stood out. We still have women till date who think the value of womanhood or what makes you a womanhood is your ability to carry children. Do we actually realize we have women? We have biologically female women that don't have a womb. Maybe because they had a medical condition and they had to get a hysterectomy. So are we saying these are lesser women, or what exactly is this statement supposed to insinuate? When you ask if I receive a period, we have women that don't receive periods for one reason or the other. Also, when we speak about womanhood and we reduce it to all these things. First things first, the lady I talked about, her name is Wairimo. The lady I talked about, you are bald. And last time I checked, there are people who think a woman is referred to as a woman because of the presence of nice hair. And some people think a woman becomes a woman because of the presence of a bust. And at the end of the day, you have people who have to get mastectomies, double mastectomies at that, because of different conditions. And I feel like this is the thing that has actually made me make peace with how I woman. Hence my series that I did in 2024 about how to woman. I specifically named it How to Woman for a reason, because I don't want you to actually get out of your way to come and dictate how I woman. I am usually not wearing makeup more often than not, and this does not in any way make me feel like a lesser trans woman. I will never carry a child because I don't have a womb, and this does not in any way make me insecure about myself. My anatomy is different, and this does not in any way inform any insecurities when it comes to me. But if as a cis heterosexual woman, if you feel insecure, if you feel the need to actually get out of your way to come and attack me, because that is what affirms your womanhood, then you need to actually think through and ask yourself, does my womanhood really exist? Do I need to go and affirm myself? Am I feeling insecure in my womanhood? Because at the end of the day, truth be said, more often than not, there are literally cis women that have been transphobic to me, and I'm just like, at the end of the day, you look like Kangebe more than I do, but this is a conversation we don't want to have, because I am a human being that knows about decorum. So yes, all those stereotypes and all those definitions of womanhood that you have for yourself, use them for yourself and your kinsmate. For me, I play by the rules of my own game. And that's how Patsy sees it. These are my intrusive thoughts. The toxic masculinity recruitment that happens post-circumcision, what is the equivalent of that when it comes to girls? And hear me out. More often than not, they are taken to churches. And more often than not, they go to get trained to be submissive to men. Why am I saying to be submissive to men? They are taught that women should be reserved, women should be agreeable, your place is, in the kitchen, you should start doing chores, all these things. And this is what I feel. I saw a teacher who was literally teaching minors, and she was holding flowers, and I was just like, oh, this must be a very interesting lesson. And you know what she was teaching? She was saying that girls need to preserve their flower so that the man that marries them is going to find them when they're intact. And that is where the problem begins. First things first is, I don't think people retain their purity, whatever that looks like, because they want to satisfy the male gaze. The reasoning should start from, don't have sex because you will get pregnant and your future is going to literally come to a standstill and you're going to be held back. Don't have sex because you have STIs. Don't have sex because sex should be consensual and we have a legal age of consent. This should be the conversation. But when you begin by saying that girls should not have sex because, and then include a man in the statement, you are a groomer. You keep on calling people groomers, but cis heterosexual men and women are the biggest groomers I have ever seen. This is what I think. Feminists should also be given a chance to talk to girls. As boys are going this way post-circumcision, girls should be going this way to be empowered, to be able to deal with manipulation, to be able to deal with patriarchy, to be able to deal with male chauvinism. This way, as a woman, you don't get married and you are literally so angry at yourself because you've been conditioned that your place is in the kitchen, that men are visual and men are naturally polygamous, as if women are blind. And all these things, all these standards and provision they have made for men at the expense of women. This needs to come to a standstill. And people might ask, who are you speaking as? I'm raising a girl. And I'm going to be very honest as a feminist. This girl is going to know about the possibilities that can happen courtesy of being with a man. We know about femicide. We know about rape culture. We know about how women get blamed. She will hear about this. She will know about the good work feminists have been doing. She will know about the good work matriarchs have been doing. She will know about intersectionality when it comes to feminism. And I will make her know why, as a Black woman, she needs to be alert. My baby is going to be empowered. And I'm not going to wait for the system to shift. I'm not going to wait until the system recognizes that a woman is literally a human being just like everyone else is. I'm not going to wait to be handed equity on a platter. I'm going to make sure I empower my baby as much as I can. And this thing where we are constantly worried about who is going to marry her, that is not a concern at the moment. She can remain in my house as long as she wants to. And this is literally a vow I am making. This is literally a promise I am making to myself and to her, because at the end of the day, I am not going to be a person that perpetuates these retrogressive beliefs when it comes to womanhood. Oh, women are the weaker gender. Women should submit. Women should be shut the fuck up. That is not going to happen in my house. And that's how Patsy sees it.